The east coast of Africa has always been a place where different cultures and religions meet. From the busy ports of the Swahili coast to the paths that went inland, lots of different people and ideas have come and gone for many years. One of the biggest changes in East Africa was when Islam arrived. Arab traders brought Islam in the 7th and 8th centuries. Slowly, more and more people started following Islam, and it changed East African history forever. Islam came to East Africa because of the Indian Ocean trade routes. Arab traders traveled across the ocean, bringing cool things and also their religion. Islam's idea that everyone is equal and its rules about doing good things were popular with lots of East Africans. They found guidance and a sense of belonging in this new faith. Islam didn't spread quickly in East Africa like it did in some other places. It happened slowly, mostly because of trade, marriages between different groups, and sharing cultures. Muslim traders and scholars were very good at sharing their ideas. They built mosques, schools, and communities along the coast. Over time, Islam became a big part of East African life, its society, culture, and even its government. Islam shaped everything from the rise of strong Swahili cities to the development of Swahili culture. It really changed who they were and what their future would be. The Indian Ocean trade routes were super important for connecting East Africa to the rest of the Islamic world. From the Red Sea ports in Arabia to the busy markets in India and beyond, these routes helped people trade goods, share ideas, and move around. This is how Islam first came to East Africa, brought by Arab traders who set up trading posts and communities along the coast. Dhows, special Arab sailboats, became a symbol of this trade. Their big triangular sails caught the monsoon winds as they carried spices, cloth, ivory, and other valuable things across the ocean. These trips weren't just about business, they also brought new languages, customs, and beliefs to East Africa. As trade grew, so did the relationships between Arab traders and the people who already lived in East Africa. Muslim merchants married local women, and their children created a new group of Swahili people, a mix of different cultures. Many East Africans decided to follow Islam, and this often helped them do better in business since Muslim traders like to trade with other Muslims. The Indian Ocean trade routes helped spread Islamic ideas, practices, and values. Mosques and madrasas, which are Islamic schools, popped up in port cities, teaching about Islam and creating a shared Islamic identity among all the different people living on the East African coast. When Islam arrived, lots of cities started growing on the East African coast. From the 10th to the 15th centuries, many successful city-states appeared, from Somalia in the north to Mozambique in the south. These Swahili city-states became busy centers of trade, culture, and Islamic learning. Some of the most important cities were Kilwa, Mombasa, Zanzibar, and Lamu. Because they were in good spots on the coast, these cities controlled important trade routes and attracted merchants from Arabia, Persia, India, and even China. All the money from trade helped these cities grow into big, exciting places with beautiful mosques, palaces, and other buildings. The Swahili city-states were full of people from all over and had a unique mix of Arab, Persian, African, and Islamic cultures. The leaders of these cities often said they were descended from Arabs or Persians. They used Islamic ways of governing, laws, and social customs. Arabic became the language of business, government, and learning, which made the cities even more connected to the rest of the Islamic world. The mosques in these cities were important for teaching about Islam, holding community events and studying. Islamic scholars came from Arabia and other places, bringing their knowledge of Islamic law, theology, and philosophy. The Swahili city-states became famous for their Islamic scholarship, and students came from all over East Africa and beyond to study there. The Swahili people, a mix of cultures and faith. The word Swahili comes from the Arabic word Sawahili, which means of the coast. The Swahili people came about from a mix of Bantu-speaking Africans and Arab, Persian, and other traders who settled on the East African coast. Over many years, a unique Swahili culture developed, combining African and Islamic traditions. Islam was really important in shaping who the Swahili people were. It gave them a shared religion and culture that brought together all the different communities along the Swahili coast. The Swahili language, which is a Bantu language with lots of Arabic words, shows this mix of African and Islamic influences. Swahili society was patriarchal, meaning men were in charge, and Islamic law guided things like inheritance, marriage, and family life. But traditional African customs and beliefs were still important in Swahili culture, especially outside the cities. This mix of Islamic and local practices can be seen in many parts of Swahili life, from music and dancing to religious ceremonies. Swahili food also shows the region's many cultures. Foods like rice, coconut milk, and spices came from Arab and Indian traders, while seafood, plantains, and cassava are local African foods. Spices like cumin, coriander, turmeric, and cloves give Swahili food its delicious and unique flavors.